So for part 3, we're going to do the same thing we did in part 2, but this time we're going to do it for cosine instead of doing it for sine. All right, so in this graph, we're going to highlight this. Let's see, I'm trying to think of maybe in green. So if I highlight this in green, hopefully you can see it. All right, so this is saying that my x-axis is still my theta values, so that's all my angle values, but now my y-axis is going to be the cosine theta axis. So it's theta comma cosine theta. So that means that in our chart, we need to highlight all the x values because on the unit circle, x is cosine of theta. So take a moment to pause the video and go ahead and highlight all of those x values. All right, so I went a little bit crazy. So I went ahead and highlighted all my radian measure in pink, and I highlighted all my cosine values in green. And so when we start over here, we're going to say at 0 degrees, what is my cosine value? So remember again, cosine is in green. So at 0 radians, my cosine value is 1. So we're going to start up here. Then at pi over 6, I go to root 3 over 2, which is about 0.9. So we go up 0.9. And then at pi over 4, we're at root 2 over 2, which we said was 0.7. So we're going to go up 0.7. And then at pi over 3, we said that my x value on the unit circle is going to be 1/2. And so that's going to be up 0.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So then at pi over 2, we are now at 0. Remember, we're just looking at the green part of the graphing. So then if I move forward to 2 pi over 3, that's going to be at the green of negative 1/2. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 3 pi over 4, we're at negative root 2 over 2. So that's negative 0.7. At 5 pi over 6, we're at negative root 3 over 2. So that's negative 0.9. And then at pi, we're going to be down at negative 1. And so far we have this much of the graph. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. So then moving this over a little bit, if I keep going, my 7 pi over 6 is next. So that's negative root 3 over 2 or negative 0.9. At 5 pi over 4, we're at negative root 2 over 2. So that's negative 0.7. At 4 pi over 3, that's going to be at negative 1/2. So that's negative 0.5. 3 pi over 2 is at 0. And so that finishes this off. And then the next part is going to come above the axis. So at 5 pi over 3, we are at positive 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at 7 pi over 4, we are at root 2 over 2. So 6, 7. At 11 pi over 6, we are at positive root 3 over 2. So that's 8, 9. And then at 0, we are at 1. So that puts us right here. And so this would be the rest of that. Okay. So notice if I added just a little loop back here, this is exactly the same graph as sine, just shifted to the left a little bit. And so that changes some of the values on our graph. So if we take a look at here, if we talk about the period, well, I would still make this rubber stamp and I stopped here. And so then my next one would be another V and so on and so forth. And so my period is still going to be 2 pi. I need to buy a rubber stamp that is 2 pi units long. My domain, I never have to lift up my fingers. So there are no domain values that don't exist. So this is going to be all real numbers. And real doesn't have 2 L's, sorry about that. But then the range, the highest we go is 1 and the lowest we go is negative 1 because on my graph, the furthest to the right we go is 1 and the furthest to the left we go is negative 1. So this is saying I've got negative 1 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 1. My y-intercept is happening at 1. And then my x-intercepts are happening at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. So you notice this is 1 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. And so following that pattern, we'd get 5 pi over 2 and then 7 pi over 2. So this is going to be n pi over 2, where n is odd, or you can say an odd integer. Okay. And then when we talk about maximum and minimums, I've got a maximum here at 0. Then I have a minimum here at pi, and then another maximum here at 2 pi. We could put a little 0 here, right? So then that means the next minimum would be at 3 pi, the maximum would be at 4 pi, etc. So my max and min are at n pi, where n is an integer. So what I want you to notice when I put this next to my sine graph, we've got here, the periods are the same, the domains are the same, the ranges are the same, but that's where things end, because with sine, I start at 0, and at cosine, I start at 1. With sine, my x-intercepts are the integer multiples of pi, whereas for cosine, my x-intercepts are the odd pi over 2. With sine, I hit maxes and mins at my odd pi over 2, whereas with cosine, I hit my maxes and mins at the integer pi. So that's one way to tell if a function is a sine function or a cosine function based upon looking at things like where is it crossing the x-axis. So if it crosses at odd pi over 2, you're talking about the cosine function. But if it crosses at 0, pi, 2 pi, or integer pi, then we can say that that's a sine function.